This place may look like a retro old diner, but inside, a chef is cooking up some tasty Chinese dishes, including a few extra special ones just in time for the Mid-Autumn Festival. Come check them out. Still steam coming off of it. You cannot get fresher than this. I'm so excited to dig in.
And once the fork went up,
Can I live here? Can I move in?
I didn't put it down.
She still even get the camera off. Oh, I love her.
The tomatoes are,
I'm not stopping. I told people at the station that I would bring some back for them, and I don't think it's going to make it back. It's a great little vehicle to soak everything up. Let me tell you. That is really good. It's really good. That is some good mustard. So this fried rice reminds me of my mom's fried rice that I grew up eating so much of. And so this is kind of a sweet and sentimental moment for me personally to know that I can have a little taste of my culture and my mom's cooking through Tita Flora right here in the greater Cleveland area. Really neat story to bring you this Sunday morning. In April of 2006, Dr. Candace Marchant became the first woman at the Cleveland Clinic to head a clinical institute. But after 3+ decades dedicated to a career in pathology, she decided to pursue a new path, one that uses her expertise in coagulation in a very different but delicious way.
Tucked away in a Stark County dairy, an artist is honing her craft.
This is a high-stakes game, cheese making. This is a bit of an arm workout. I'm just exceptionally weak or the curd's very strong.
Dr. Candace Marchant showing me just how much effort goes into the practice of making cheese.
We're going to stir for 1 minute only.
Her love of triple creams and camemberts has been nurtured over time.
Well, I've always loved cheese, and I grew up in Wisconsin, and the cheese I had as a child was Velveeta and shrink-wrapped cheddar. But I married an Englishman, and we spent a lot of time in England.
There, she discovered a new world of European cheese traditions. Inspired, she began to learn how to make her own.
I learned all about the chemistry and the microbiology of cheeses, and I was super hooked.
Despite what she calls some dismal first attempts, the science of cheesemaking came easily to Candace.
Now we've added the rennet, which is an enzyme that's going to magically turn the liquid milk into one big solid curd mass.
No surprise, considering her accomplished career in medicine.
I stayed at the Cleveland Clinic for 36 years, eventually ran the blood coagulation lab, and then eventually became the Institute Chair of Pathology and Lab Medicine.
Her MD, PhD, the perfect prerequisite to cheesemaking.
So there's a lot of surprising chemical similarities between curds and clots. And it's really amazing. When I first read that, I had that aha moment.
Dr. Marchant retired from the clinic in May, giving her more flexibility to run her Cleveland Heights shop, which opened in February 2021.
It's, I think, unique in Cleveland. We sell our cheeses. We sell other cheeses and cheese-related products, but we will also tell people how to make cheese.
Trading in her white coat for rubber boots, she now makes weekly trips down to the dairy.
And you've got to make sure that the apron comes down over the boots, because otherwise the whey goes right down your leg.
My feet are wet. Heed the warning.
She is clinical about the process, one that can take months from start to finish.
Our flagship cheese is the Elmstead Ash.
Her creations eventually landing in the shop's display case.
And it's named after the street my husband grew up in Birmingham, England, Elmstead Avenue.
Her late husband, Roger Marchant, a partner in her medical career and a cheerleader in her passion for cheese.
He got to taste some of my initial experiments that were terrible, but I think he would have enjoyed the cheeses as they are today. So all of the cheeses are really an honor of him. And this one has this lovely yellow paste inside, and you can see the little bit of the bloomy ash layer around the end.
The pursuit of a passion driving a delicious second act.
It's like butter in the form of
smooth.
cheese. Very smooth cheese.
From medicine to maker, monger, and mentor.
I think for me, it was a new challenge. Going into being, a small business owner where it's you, that was a huge learning experience. But I love challenges, so that was fun for me.
This morning, I am especially excited to show you my latest story in my series, Taste of Home, which aims to highlight the many cultures and cuisines right here in Northeast Ohio. You may not know this about me, but I am half Filipina. My mom was born and raised in the Philippines. She came to the States in the 90s. A word you might hear to describe Filipino people or things relating to the Philippines is Pinoy. So when I heard about a Filipino pop-up feast, I knew I had to go and take you all along with me.
Kumain ka na. In Tagalog, that means did you eat yet?
Words you're sure to hear in any Filipino household, so you better show up hungry.
We make sure that everybody's full and fed, and in our culture, that's something that's very heartwarming for us.
An important lesson instilled in Melvin Reyes from a young age. In 1986, his parents came to the U.S. from the Philippines. He was born in Cleveland and raised by Filipino family members, titos and titas, who taught him the importance of food.
I think it's like a love language for Filipinos.
A language influenced by the country's history and by the people who went there for commerce or conquest.
The Philippines were colonized by many people, so it's a huge mix of like Chinese, Spanish, even American food.
From pork to seafood, soups and stews, noodles and rice, the cuisine of the nation is as vast and varied as its more than 7,000 islands.
Iwan mo na lang sa oven, naka 140 naman, di ba?
And Melvin, a player in the food industry, has been on a mission to get Filipino food onto more menus and into more mouths.
I feel like if you're not in the culture, maybe you aren't super familiar with the dishes.
Sure. I'm trying to actually gather chefs from around the nation and figure out how can we actually bring Filipino culture to the forefront. I mean, a lot of people are searching it out now. We're trying to elevate and help bring awareness to the Filipino community.
This winter, Melvin, his brother, and cousins saw sushi trays taking off in the Philippines. So they started a business here called Sushi Bake CLE. The concept evolved to include a pop-up Filipino feast held at Porco in March.
It's like, hey, why don't we share our love for food with others? And so that's how this whole idea came about, and then it evolved into this Kamayan event. We lay the banana leaves out on the table, and then we'll put the rice all down the middle, and then we'll put the entrees all over the side. And so usually Kamayan means to eat with your hands.
Instead of eating together at a communal table, guests have individual plates due to the pandemic. But the food still packs a punch.
Chicken adobo is the staple. We also did lechon kawale, which is crispy pork belly, and then the staple lumpia Shanghai.
Plus grilled eggplant, bok choy, ube butter mochi, and garlic butter shrimp.
So we already prepped some garlic butter. We put it into the wok, and then we start getting it sizzling here, and then we're gonna take the shrimp and pretty much fry it up and baste it in there.
Plated up and ready to go. I couldn't resist starting with one of my favorite foods, lumpia, pork-filled egg rolls.
And to say yummy or very yummy in Tagalog, the language in the Philippines, it's masarap or sarap. So enjoy. Masarap.
A meal that's masarap and reminds me and so many other Pinoys of home.
We have that huge love for Filipino food, and so during the weekends we would get together and cook up a huge feast, and now we're doing it for everybody else.
And good news, with the success of that pop-up event, Melvin was asked to make Filipino bar food at Porco on Friday and Saturday nights now, so you can try some of the food for yourself. If you happen to find yourself on Erie Avenue in Massillon, Ohio, you might just have to let your nose lead you to the doors of the facility making golden crisp potato chips. Their kettle-cooked chips are a local favorite in Stark County and beyond, and I had the chance to get to know the family that's been sharing that special flavor for decades.
My great-grandma and grandpa, they had a potato chip company, and when my grandfather got out of the military, he knew that he didn't want to work for anybody else. He wanted to be his own boss.
When he came home from the Army, he worked for them for about a year and decided he wanted to make his own potato chips.
And kind of branched off and bought it from them, changed a few things, and with the help of my grandma Betty Lou, that's kind of where it all started.
And more than 60 years later, Golden Crisp potato chips are still made just the way Odell Gainey, better known by family as Grandfather, would have wanted.
Okay, we can get started back here.
Once stirred by hand in a kettle, Golden Crisp potato chips are now made by machine in the family's facility in Massillon.
So here we have the two cookers where the actual magic is made.
Okay.
Doug, Odell's son-in-law, is GM and operational manager.
How many pounds of potatoes are we dealing with?
Every day we probably go through 14,000 pounds of potatoes.
Wow.
Their chips, both regular and rippled, unchanged all these years later. The same chips President Mary, Odell's granddaughter, ate growing up.
What sets us apart is we have a special blend of oils that is mixed with lard, and I think that's what gives them the distinct flavor that people really like, and them being kettle cooked. They're the perfect crunch.
And if you're lucky, you can snag a warm bag fresh at their door.
That's a delicacy in its own when you eat them warm with the salt just on them.
The chips can be found all across Stark County, in grocery stores and even Walmarts, growing outward into the rest of Ohio, too. But you can always stop by their location or order online.
But after this long in the community, we do have a very loyal following. So
Yeah, it's worked for over 60 years, so it's like there's no reason to change it. It was always wanting to make grandfather proud when he was here, but now it's even more so just wanting to, it's like we have to make sure we take care of things and do right by him.
A commitment maintained by each generation, from parents Doug and Beth to daughters Katie, Mary, and Jessie, all destined to be part of this family-run business.
Yeah, I just found this in recent years. I'm like, whoa, my future is behind me.
Katie never imagined she'd grow up to drive a chip truck, but it seems grandfather knew all along.
It's what he wanted for us. You know, he set this place up to give himself independence and then to give his family independence and jobs, and he trained us all so highly, and I don't know, it just means the world.
Even as kids, the sisters packed up chips before school, then off to breakfast with grandfather. Their facility.
So Mary is here in '89. I think that's the oldest one.
Home away from home for Jessie and her mom, Beth.
Memories of them tying on the aprons, the adult-size aprons, you know, to make them fit us when we were kids.
The business growing along with their family.
When we would add on additions and we'd be laying the cement, we'd have them come in and put their handprints in the cement. And pretty special.
Now there are new tiny handprints making their mark.
So my daughter, seeing it through her eyes is really neat. Mama, our chips are here. I'm like, oh, yeah, they are. So it's pretty cute. And we continue to be blessed to drive each other crazy and also love each other extra.
Decades of memories and countless hours of hard work. Those early mornings and long days, never overshadowing the importance of family, with grandfather's guiding hand always at the center.
Must make you very proud to know that you've raised girls who want to work with you and want to work with each other.
Yes, it does.
It's very special, and I don't think we take it for granted. Again, we have hard days, and sometimes it is frustrating, but we make sure to not let that last long and just remember what we have and how great it is.